back here?
Sunflower forest. This look a little different than our sunflowers did last year. Remember how short they were?
Yeah, but like these grew in 45 days.
So this is Vincent's Choice. They have grown so, I'm 5'8", and they're taller than me. Some of them are almost as tall as Eric, and he's 6'5". So these have grown so fast, so tall, and already comparing to last year when we just did Procuts, the Procuts bloomed quickly. It was a very short window in the fall, but they stayed really short, and that bugged me. I didn't like that. And then it's like this year we have the opposite problem, where these are so tall, and even though we did the spacing in the cedar, kind of how it should be, their stalks are, I mean, they are just like mighty, mighty sunflowers, which, I mean, this is a bit bigger than I would prefer for retail. I mean, I don't think our customers are going to turn down like a giant sunflower because it's still beautiful, but just from like an industry standard of quality I want to get them smaller. So honestly, I'm glad we did this experiment and are kind of like learning as we go, because fall sunflowers are just a bit trickier because temps are cooler, days are shorter. They behave a bit differently than like your standard summer sunflower. So I'm excited to like think through all of this.
Fast as heck. Do you want to show the other
I know, yeah,
row?
we'll show the other side because the other row is Sunrich and it looks different than Vincent. So let's go look. So I'm standing in front of our Sunrich row trial. We planted them at the same time, Sunrich series. I think there's a Sunrich orange in here. And then Vincent's Choice. So we planted them at the same time. And you can see the height difference of Vincent's Choice in that second row where I was standing. It's at least, I don't know, a foot taller, 10 inches. Yeah, behind the Sunrich. But the Sunrich are the stem thickness that's closer to what I would prefer. I'm coming through here and I'm stripping them. I'll show you how I do it. Just come through like that. So you can see this is a bit more what I would prefer for a bouquet. This thickness, I guess it's like my pinky, pretty much. I feel like the Vincents are like my thumb. In thickness. So this is exactly what I want. I want this thickness. I want this size bud. I want the petal lifting off the face. This is exactly where I want to cut. This is what I like. But one of the reasons we chose to trial Vincent's Choice is that's the sunflower that all of the much bigger, high production farms grow. That's their preferred, like Bloom Hill Farm, if you've heard of them. A couple others that supply like grocery stores and just have really high production sunflower fields. They go with Vincent's Choice. And one of the reasons they do is it holds really well in a cooler and it's very uniform. So I wanted to try it. I'm thinking we might need to go to 4-inch spacing rather than 6-inch spacing to keep that size down. But the next part of this trial that we're wanting to do, and we'll share with you here on the video, is how do they perform in the cooler? Because Procuts are uniform, they're consistent, but they tend to open and mature a lot in a cooler, which shortens the amount of time you can hold them and you have to turn it over quickly. So when I put all of these Vincents together in, I'm gonna try to label my bucket and stuff and kind of see what they do in the cooler over the next week, because we're filming this right now on a Saturday and we're not opening again until next Saturday. So I'm gonna be curious to see, do they continue to really open? Do they kind of hold in stasis and not open too much so that when I pull them out to use them, they're perfect and ready for a bouquet? Same with Sunrich. So I'm kind of liking this trial because I'm used to Procuts, but I'm not absolutely in love with them because of that cooler situation. So this is interesting, but I don't want to lose these, so I need to get harvesting. It's been a week, and each day I go out, typically in the morning while the kids are having breakfast, and cut whatever is at the petal crack stage. Anything that's ready, that's how I've been checking. I've been accumulating those buckets in the cooler, and honestly at this point, because Oklahoma is really, really, really hard. You guys heard us talk about this before, and things are just kind of like limping it to the end. And so I'm cutting all of the premium beautiful flowers, and we're going to go make bouquets in our flower cottage with everything that we have available. And that'll be however many bouquets. Eric asked me at dinner, like, how many do you think? And I haven't been counting. I haven't been doing a lot of my stuff, break all the rules here at the end when you're tired. So really, we're going to make as many as we can. That's what's going to go out to the flower stand. We hope some customers show up. And really, I'm thinking it's going to be like this Saturday and next. And then we're going to announce that the season is over for year 3 on our flower farm, because we have a ton of work to do to get ready for next season. So that timing will probably be a good thing. But we've been using our new cooler, the one that Eric built, especially in a panic for our Lisianthus in July. So it's nice to be able to just easily pop in sunflowers. And I have accumulated a lot, even though it's been a bit of a headache with all of our issues. But we have buckets. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 and a quarter, and a little bit in the cottage itself. So we'll see how many bouquets we can make. And now, because I'm 9 months pregnant, Eric's gonna lift the buckets for me in what would normally just be a solo job for me. But they look pretty. Oh, don't break my high buckets. Those are expensive.
For this gentleman.
I know I haven't helped at all. I'm just gonna follow you and do nothing.
What do you want?
On my chairs, because I can't bend down. I'll wait here now.
The new variety.
So this is what I have to work with. This is everything that has survived grasshoppers, drought, deer have found us, all of the fun things for September to throw at us. But these look beautiful. We are trialing 2 different varieties this fall of sunflowers. Typically we grow Procuts, so that's what I'm familiar with. But we have Vincent Choice and the Sunrich series to work with. And so that's what's here. We have a new camera woman because we had a little bit of little boy drama that Dad's dealing with. So come here, honey. We'll see. These are these big, beautiful, bright faces. These are all the Vincent Choice varieties. Good job. And then the smaller ones, most of them haven't totally opened yet, but like the much smaller faced ones are the Sunrich. And it was interesting because we seeded them at the same distance, about 6 inches, and Vincent grew like giant monsters, and Sunrich was really short and skinny. And so I know fall can be a little different because of the sunlight hours and temperatures and all of that. So that's an interesting thing Eric and I are going to talk through, of maybe we'll go closer to 4 inches for Vincent to bring them down a little bit. I don't think my customers are going to complain about a big giant sunflower, but from like an industry standard, we want them a little smaller. But so that some bouquets are not like giant and then other ones have skinnier sunflowers, I'm going to do a mix. But if you're new to our channel, we sell retail market bouquets from our roadside stand. All of our mixes, bouquet mixes, are $25, and that's how we make up all of our recipes year round. And so I need to make a $25 sunflower bunch, which for us is going to be about 10 stems. And I'll do a mix of some of the more larger ones, some of the smaller ones, but it's going to be 10 quality stems bunched together. We have some marigolds that have survived in the tunnel, some stragglers. I think it would be kind of dorky to do like 1 marigold in each bouquet. So what I think I'm going to do is, with some of the remaining sunflowers, I'm going to do more like, 6 or 7 sunflowers and 3 marigolds. So there'll probably be a bucket that have like mixed sunflower marigold recipes, and then the rest will be sunflower bunches. But that's also how I've been advertising it on Facebook all this week, is sunflower bunches. So people know that that's what we have coming. But sunflowers are very fall. Everyone's getting out their fall decor. It's still hot, but we're all pretending like the weather's changing and it's fall. So I think sunflowers will go really nicely inside everyone's homes and on their tables. I cut myself some flowers, which we've been enjoying inside. So I know that they're quality and they've been doing great, but it's time to make some bouquets. I haven't done this in like a month. I'm bigger and rusty. Like I said, some of them are giant. This is not totally what you're going for, but it's beautiful. I think our customers will like it, but in theory, we want it a little smaller. We've got 8 bunches here. We've got a little spray thing to clean some of them up because we don't really spray on our farm, so things obviously will look more natural. See any bug or anything I want to get rid of. We'll put together a nice bunch. So here's our cheery bunch. I think this is great. Nice, healthy, beautiful sunflowers. Some are bigger so people can see what they're going to look like. And then some are a bit tighter that'll continue to open up for people in home, which means the bouquet will last longer. But I got them all here. So come over to my station. Get my chop. Got my wraps ready. Got my water buckets ready. So once the assembly line gets going, like I said, I haven't done this in a month. My hands forget a little bit. Is that it?
One bouquet done.
One sunflower market bouquet.
19 more to go, hopefully.
Well, yeah. When you go to the grocery store, even this time of year, and you see sunflower bunches out, I always think they look like, I gotta cut these first. I think they always look like the saddest things ever versus a locally grown sunflower. The quality is like completely different. Because these weren't flown from South America, cut 5 days ago and flown. They're all like shriveled and dehydrated and smushed. These are like fresh, basically from the field. The plan was, as we're talking about reality, we take August off, and so before we left for a little trip with the kids to go see my family on the West Coast, I had done like a haircut in our tunnel of celosia and marigold, and the plants were looking like really healthy and they were growing well. I planted them too early, which was a lesson learned on my part. So if we decide to do a similar thing again, I will plant them later because they hit kind of their peak a week or two before I would prefer they do. But I gave them a haircut in like almost like not a pinch, but like a deadhead, in hopes that they would kind of like reflush and give me some fresh blooms by the time we came back and needed them for sale. Well, apparently the grasshoppers and every bug in Oklahoma knew that we were gone, and our tunnel was just like, I mean, the only other way I know how to describe it is like skeletalized. I mean, it was just like stripped. The leaves look horrible. It's just awful in there. It's almost like when you go to the zoo and like you go into like the butterfly exhibit where they make you walk into the netting and there's just like bugs everywhere. That's how the tunnel feels. So my like awesome plan for marigolds and celosia didn't work out. If it was 2 weeks ago, I would have the most beautiful sunflower celosia marigold mix bouquets to put out, but that was a lesson learned there, and it did not pan out for us, which is a bummer. But we have the sunflowers.
Dinner plate size.
I know. I'm trying to do a mix, so like some of them are big, some of them are small. With our strange.
Can you tell the difference between the two types?
only because of the size. I mean, this is a Sunrich, which is obviously smaller, and it has kind of like, it looks like double petals, but they're kind of like alternate overlapping. And then this is Vincent's Choice, which grew much bigger, but I think it's more of like a true double, like there's more layers to the petals. Obviously, I don't want them quite this big, as I've said, but seeing them now, I'm partial to the Vincent's Choice. If we can get them sized down a little bit. But 5 bunches in our buckets. Our season starts 2 months before a lot of the Midwest and Pacific Northwest cooler northern farms really get going. We've been going for like 2 months prior. And so it does kind of make sense that right now, you know, you go on Instagram and like everyone up north is like drowning in dahlias and beautiful fall palette bouquets, and we're like being overrun with like biblical locusts and grasshoppers, and it hasn't rained in over a month, and everything is brown and crispy, and the deer are desperate. And it's like, he made a good point. He's like, well, we started 2 months earlier, so it makes more sense that like we're declining a month or two before they are. And part of that is just like, this is where we live.
One thing we were successful with amongst the failures here is getting this timing right.
Yeah, okay, let's be positive.
So last year we planted, so most sunflowers are in that 60 to like 70 day range. And so that's what they were in spring. Well, it's kind of weird because they're very daylight. Well, you said they're daylight neutral, but they're not. They seem to be like temperature dependent. Like they seem, if they're daylight neutral, then they are definitely wanting the temperature. But last year we planted in, I'm trying to remember the exact timeline that we planted for the fall sunflowers. I think I planted them early July, thinking that July, August, September. No, last year.
Oh.
So this year I went on that 45-day estimate and planted these later July, and that worked. We didn't come back to a completely blown out field of sunflowers. It was actually the right timing. So keep that in mind for your spring versus summer plantings if you do that with sunflowers.
Yeah, it's like what? Spring took like 75 days and fall took 45 days.
I mean, I'm learning on the being, I guess, quote, the sunflower guy, that they're not like a harvest 80% of them kind of product. They seem to me to look more like a 50% product.
Well, when you add in
bug damage, deer pressure, just in general quality. I'm like, we haven't had a deer before in our property in 3 years, and I came home the other night and there was a deer in our front yard. So, are you gonna put any of these beautiful marigolds in, babe?
I think in my last round I'm gonna do the marigolds, because I said I thought it would look dorky if like a bouquet had like 1 marigold, so I'm gonna save like this and do maybe like 3 marigold stems and 6 sunnies, and those will kind of look different and not be a bunch. But just have 1 marigold in a bouquet felt kind of like random.
Just put it in the middle, like make it really tall. All right, well, why don't you get these finished up, and you know, maybe we'll film some stuff tomorrow in the bouquet distribution and sales.
Well, we've been close for a month, so we'll see who comes back.
Right.
It's the afternoon. We had a flurry of the morning getting the stand stocked. We're a little bit out of practice, as I keep saying, but we got it open, and we actually had a line out past our driveway to open because people are used to coming in the morning and stuff for us. That was nice to see that people didn't forget about us after being closed for like 5 or 6 weeks in August and early September. And we put out 26 bouquets, and I haven't done a final count, but I think we've sold close to 20, which honestly is great. It's just things really slow down from spring and early summer here, and 20 is fine. It keeps people remembering us. It gives us lots of good pictures for marketing and everything, and our usual customers get to see us again, which I know made them happy. So I think it's pretty good for a relaunch. I'm just looking at the sunflowers and being angry at the deer, but We're doing what we can. It is full sun, still 90 degrees in mid-September. So I don't blame people for not being out and about right now buying flowers and why they all wanted to show up at 9 a.m. But coming in here, we have 8 left. So yeah, we've sold 18. Part of me wants to just be done. Another part of me is sunflowers usually handle the heat decently well. We send our kids up to do regular checks to make sure flowers' feet are all in the water and they're well hydrated and doing fine. So I think it'd be fine just to stay open maybe until after dinner. Maybe there's a couple stragglers that still want to come and grab a bouquet. It is interesting that there's still some marigold mixed bunches. So people clearly liked the sunflowers. I was curious to see, like, did all the marigold ones get grabbed up first because people wanted a mix? But it's clear that people really liked the bunches. But I think the theme of this video takeaway is, I always talk about taking notes, taking crop notes, seeing your customers' buying habits, seeing your climate and your conditions. I think this is going to give Eric and I some good things to talk about over the winter of what we want our fall season to look like, because it's not just about growing flowers or selling sunflowers. You need to be doing it profitably. And so this really is going to give us some hard questions to ask of, should we even go for a fall season? Like what is the pros, the cons, the benefits? We need to really think through that before we crop plan. And I honestly don't have an answer yet because we need to go through that thought process. But at the same time, it is just really nice to have flowers again. We flower farm because we love flowers. So I loved cutting and harvesting. It was fun to make bouquets again. It was nice to have the stand open, all those sorts of things. And it almost is a little bit sad that we have to wait until March again, once our season's over here in a week or two. Wait until March to have tulips, because I know in the winter I'm going to be like, why did I want the season to end? I miss flowers. But that's just the cyclical nature of flower farming.
Dreams, you two.
Do you know what? The farm looks like the 3rd trimester. You're over it. You look terrible. You're ready to be done.
Yeah.
But you want to have a good attitude. And you're just like, please be over.